Welcome everyone back to Weekly Weather Updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest from the GFS, the GEM, the ECMWF, the GFS Ensembles, and we'll finish up having a look at the UKMO Office Run as well. We've had a lot of mixed signals over the last sort of few days looking at the longer range models, but it is looking like it's going to be unsettled and pretty cool as well, with quite regular periods of polar maritime air mass coming in from the North Atlantic. Does look relatively dry over the next few days in the south. Do go out and enjoy that if you are in this sort of dry patch with this big ridge of high pressure building up from the southwest for us, because after that, towards the end of September and early October, it is looking like it's going to be continually unsettled. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and do remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So if you do go through the latest GFS, you can see that ridge building up in the south over the coming days, and it's meaning we're going to have pretty fine days in the south. However, in the north, where we've got these southwesterly winds, there will be cloud and showers around, perhaps even longer spells of rain as well. In the south, though, we have reasonably warm air mass, so temperatures may get up into the low 20s for some. However, as we head towards the end of this week, we see the wind veers to more of a northwesterly wind, and we do see cooler air sweep in by the weekend, with unsettled conditions taking over and these lows spinning up. You can see we're not seeing that direct northerly that we have seen over the last few days, but still seeing some relatively chilly air come over to the top of the UK. And beyond that, you can see generally just have low pressure spiralling in and around the UK, bringing in bands of rain and cooler temperatures, along with some potentially stronger winds at times and plenty of cloud. Now, of course, this time of year we've got both quite cold air in the north and warm air to the south, so it does mean subtle changes in these wind directions can either bring us a very cold northerly wind or a very hot southerly wind, as we look at the ensemble charts at the end of the video, which does give us a good hint of that. So if we do have a look at the GEM run, you can see very similar over the coming days, with a lot of westerly winds, of course, and then we see low pressure really spiraling up by the start of next week, and you can simply see westerly winds coming in on the GEM run, and right towards the end of the run, it does look once again we're seeing this cold air seep out of Greenland, spiraling into these low pressure systems, giving us unsettled conditions. And it does look like generally things are going to be unsettled, cool, but you can't rule out the odd warmer, drier day here or there. But the longer term trend does look like it's going to be unsettled and cool. If we now have a look at the ECMWF, you can see generally it is a very westerly sort of theme once again, with high pressure in the south over the next few days, and then we do see that low pressure spiralling in for the UK, and we do see it become a bit of a cut-off low, and the ECMWF towards the end of the run builds in some proper northern blocking over towards Iceland and Scandinavia. We're actually putting in quite a chilly easterly wind. Now you can see at this point the upper air temperatures aren't particularly cold, so we don't have a very cold air sitting over Europe. However, you can see some cold air is starting to come down from Siberia into Scandinavia, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with that, because if that does trend like that, we could be seeing a very cold northeasterly wind for the start of October, potentially bringing, as we saw the northerly wind yesterday, frosts, maybe even a few wintry showers. So if we do now have a look at the GFS Ensembles, just have a look at London, then we'll have a look at Glasgow in a minute, to see what we're going to see in the trends in the north. You can see over the next sort of week or so, temperature is going to be up and down, generally around or above average, which is pretty typical, of course, for a southwesterly wind. However, in the longer term, you can see towards sort of the last few days of September, we're seeing this continual trend of unsettled weather returning and cooler than average conditions. Now, this is the 6 o'clock ensemble run, as the midday run hasn't come out as I'm recording this. But you can see the 6 o'clock operational GFS went really quite warm, heatwave-like pattern, maybe even in Indian summer. However, the majority of the ensemble members are going for something a lot cooler and a lot more unsettled as well, with it looking like the temperature profile is going to be a good couple degrees below average, with some even getting quite a few degrees below average. And in those scenarios, we could be seeing some more chillier weather with potential for frosts, and of course there will be maybe some winteriness over the hills in the north, but still a bit of uncertainty in the longer term. But it is looking like this trend of cooler and unsettled conditions is going to prevail. If we have a look at if we have a look at the sea level pressure, you can see high pressure at the moment, and then it trends generally lower pressure before we get to the last few days of September, and then there's a lot more uncertainty. Some ensemble members are going for a very, very low pressure, getting down to 970 millibars on ensemble member number 26, but others are staying around sort of in between weather patterns, and even some going high pressure. So we have to take it all into account at this stage, but it does look like the most favourable scenario is the unsettled and cool weather. If we do have a look at what's happening in Glasgow, just to give us an idea of what's happening in the north, you can see the sea level pressure. If we do have a look at the 6Z, you can see generally things are looking lower pressure trending over the next sort of 4 or 5 days, as of course in the north it's always going to be closer to that low that's sitting over towards Iceland. In the longer term it's a little bit up and down. It does look like there's going to be a brief ridge of higher pressure, but it's not going to be that large, and it does look like generally things are unsettled, with it hovering around 1010 millibars, which is generally low pressure. So it does look like it's going to be unsettled and cool. And if we do finally have a look for Glasgow at the 850 HPA temperatures and precipitation, you can see an absolute mess on here, with the precipitation spikes reaching all the way up to the temperature spikes, temperature lines as well, which just shows you cool and unsettled over the next sort of 4 or 5 days. It does look like temperatures are going to be up and down, around average, maybe above average, and a couple dry days coming up here. Sort of early this week, but it does look like around midweek it's going to be unsettled for the foreseeable future, with a lot of days of heavier rain, stronger winds, and you can see the operational GFS going for warm and dry, but evidently it is a massive outlier on the 6Z ensemble runs. Most are going cooler than average and very, very unsettled. So we do finally have a look at the UKMO Office Run, just to give an idea of what we're going to be seeing over the next few days. You can see there's a few showers in the east today, but they have faded away. And by sort of tomorrow afternoon, maybe some more showers moving into the far northwest, but nothing too much. But you can see by the middle of the week, as I said, unsettled conditions are going to be returning to the north. Dry conditions holding off in the south, but you can see cooler and showery conditions in the north. In the south, still reasonably dry, but it is likely to be changing as we head into the last few days of September, with more of this rain spreading to the south as well. If we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see this afternoon it got up to around 20 degrees, where we saw decently pleasant sunshine across the Midlands, into central southern England, even into parts of Ireland as well, staying up into the high teens. As we head through to Tuesday, just like temperatures once again could be getting up to around 20, maybe 21 degrees across England, Wales and Ireland. Further north a little bit cooler, maybe across Aberdeenshire, maybe seeing 20 degrees once again as well. By Wednesday though, from the northwest it's going to be cooling down, and you can see temperatures wide across Scotland into the low teens, maybe mid-teens in a few spots, cooling in from the northwest. For the southeast, still maybe 21 degrees across the Midlands and widely across England in general. But by Thursday, once these weather fronts are starting to move through, you can see generally northern areas are much cooler, a good 5-6 degrees chillier than Tuesday, maybe even a little bit more in a few places. In the far south, still holding on to that warmth, maybe 21-22 degrees. And by Friday, still potentially 21-22 degrees, but it is slowly diminishing in temperatures in from the northwest, and I do suspect as we head into the weekend and early next week, all areas will be under the unsettled and cooler conditions, at least for a time. There is always the potential for seeing a ridge in the south, but at this stage we can't really pinpoint the exact timings on that until we sort of get into the sort of 3, 4, 5 day time frame. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you go out and enjoy the dry weather if you're in the south, and the sort of lingering heat we still have in a few spots. But I'll see you again for another video soon.